Do you have student loan debt?
Yes, I'd say maybe 15,000.
Do you have student loan debt?
Yeah.
Can I ask you how much student loan debt you have?
5-ish K that I would have to pay off soon. Like, it's not that bad yet because it's only first semester.
How much would you say you'll have towards the end of school?
Like, yeah, probably 50K.
Do you have student loan debt?
Oh God, I don't even know. I'm probably gonna take out like so much money.
American dream, best country in the world.
Did my dental hygiene school tuition cost? This is how much I'm in debt. It's worth it though.
We are back, and once again, we're going to be looking at student loan debt. Some of these people are out of control. The government will let student loans get out of control, and that's what we're here to see. You know, just the worst of the worst. So we're going to start off with this lady who's $100,000 in student loan debt. Not the end of the world, but I'm sure she did it responsibly.
Over $100,000 in debt because of student loans. Do I think it was worth it? Do I regret my decision? Let's get into it. So I decided to become a nurse when I was 24. I went to a community college to complete all of my prerequisite classes. I paid next to nothing to complete those. Once I was done and graduated with an associate's in science with a 3.8 GPA, I started applying to nursing programs. Applied to nursing programs throughout San Diego County, through Riverside County. 2 years went by and I had still not gotten into a nursing program.
Okay, so we did 2 years of essentially an associate's. She said she wasn't really in debt, so we'll just count that as 0. And then 2 years before she could get into a nursing program. There's something, I don't know what college or what undergraduate she went into, but there must have been some issue academically there where it might not be that rigorous or that it has a bad reputation, because nursing is not incredibly difficult to get into.
Bite the bullet and take out student loans and go to a private accelerated nursing program. I went to West Coast.
And she only got accepted into a private. Yeah, there's a problem. And all this debt is going to come from this program, I'm imagining.
University. This school is notorious for being really expensive. Accelerated, so you graduate with your bachelor's degree in nursing in little over 2 years. The education itself, I really don't know if it was good or bad in the grand scheme of nursing programs throughout Southern California. What I will say is that I am in debt over $100,000 because of student loans. I don't know how long it's going to take me to pay.
$100,000 for 2 years. So she went $50,000 a year for nursing. Holy, that is probably not a great deal. She should have just waited another year and then found a cheaper program. Or her undergraduate associate was kind of like a scam school. That's what I'm imagining. But man, $100,000, that's going to take a hot minute to pay off. And she's already wasted, 2 years. I don't know what she was doing over the 2 years. She doesn't really get into it, but these doctors, nurses, man, the healthcare field might not be the greatest thing with some of these debts people are taking out. It just doesn't coincide with the income. Just because you want to do it and because historically it's been a good deal, you got to look at that return on investment.
Hi there. Let's talk about this number right here. This is how much debt I have.
Holy, I hope she is living at home to save money to pay some of that debt because,
I'm about $180,000 in debt from both federal and private student loans, my car loan, credit cards. That is all of my debt. I am 24 years old. I have a bachelor degree, so not even a master's. I have 1 minor, no focus in my major, as well as an honors degree, which did require some extra credits.
Wait, so how do you graduate with a bachelor's degree with no major focus? I don't even know how that's possible, let alone how we racked up almost $200,000 to get a degree that she's saying is worthless. Some people are just going to college to go to college. This is probably one of those examples, and don't do it, guys. You're just going to nuke your future.
So that is where this number is coming from. This is on top of the little amount of scholarships that I was awarded, so money I didn't have to pay back. This is everything I owe. Everything I owe. came out of college in June of 2024, and I did not look at the debt that I was accruing. I took out loans as I needed them each year for college, and I didn't really think about what the percentages meant because I was never taught financial literacy.
I think she means the interest, but yeah, the percentages. She's like that thing before the percent sign. That's I don't look at that. I don't know what that is, but percentages are bad. She is aware of that.
Think about what the realistic number was going to be that I would have to owe each month on these loans, and they are astronomical, I will say. Sally Mae, which is my private loan creditor.
Shout out to Sally Mae, taking these kids to church.
Wants $1,800 a month from me. That's just Sally Mae. I am right now in a grace period for 12 months where I only have to pay $1,033 to Sally Mae. I would not be able to afford the $1,800 a month if I wasn't able to get it down for 12 months. I don't know what I'm going to do in 11 months, but this is just me talking about it. On top of that, I owe about $287 to the federal government per month. That's not changing. And I owe $202 for my car payment, and that's not even including the $150 or $60 that I owe each month for the car insurance or my credit card payments. That doesn't include any of that. So, alone, Sally.
So this woman, like by default, is going to be paying $3,500 to $4,000 in fixed monthly payments. Oh my goodness, what did we do this for? And she doesn't, by all accounts, it wasn't for anything useful. I mean, the car ride is a good mode of transportation, but she probably bought a car that was way too expensive. And then credit cards, hard to really tell. She hasn't gone into it yet, but man, the student loans, $2,000 a month is what she should be paying for a degree that's not doing her any good. Like, what did we go to college for? You had 4 years. Like, what did we do here?
Sally Mae wants $1,800 from me. I graduated college, as I just mentioned, in June of 2024, so this last year, and I wanted to just have a nice summer because I have been doing school for the last 5 years, and I've been taking...
Oh, she went to school for 5 years, and to be honest, if she went straight from college, she should say, I've been going to school for the last 16 years, because, I mean, you were in elementary school and you didn't need a break. Like, why now?
Summer courses full-time every year, and as well as working full-time. So this is also like the debt I have, and I was working full-time.
And she was working full-time? Interesting. How did we accrue so much debt?
During the summers, and I was working part-time during the school years. So that's all.
Oh, she was working part-time. She said full-time, and then she immediately pulled it back to part-time. There we go. She was like, I was working full-time, but like, and then I was part-time. Yeah, I can't.
Like, I still had no money, like, and I had to take out loans. So, being 23 years old, almost 24 when I graduated, I decided that I was just going to get a part-time job so that way I could only work part-time during the summer and kind of enjoy the summer because I had been doing over full-time in schools and working and had a role in my sorority, and I decided that I was just going to work part-time. And if I had looked at my loans fresh out of college, which I highly recommend you do if you have loans, do not wait until they are due to start looking at them.
Arguably, you should look at them before you graduate, literally before you even start entering college, to see if it's a worthwhile endeavor. Seeing if taking out a loan for an investment in something, to only worry about it after it's done, to see like if it's a good deal and what you need to do to address it, seems crazy, right? You should pre-plan before you even take out the loans if this is a good idea. But this is, if people did that, they wouldn't be here on TikTok. So God bless them.
Decided to do that and made barely any money, but I didn't have any loan payments at the time during the summer, and I wish that I had started making the payments as soon as possible on those loans while I had them. So I worked part-time. Around November, my best friend was like, hey, I have loans, you have loans. Have you looked at what your loan payments are going to be? And I was like, shh, can't be that bad, right? Wrong.
Imagine doing something, taking out 6 figures of debt and like not even thinking about it. That is the entire problem with student debt. It's not literacy, because once again, all of these people, if you told them like, hey, you know, you're gonna have to pay the student loan back, she understood it. She just said, yeah, you know, what's the payments gonna be? That can't be that bad. But how do you know when you've never looked at it? You've never calculated this out. You're going to college. Most people are going to college so they can get a better job, so they can get more money in the future. If you take out a loan, that's going to hurt that income in the future. Why is all of a sudden that not an important factor? Why? Like, did someone explain this to me? But alas, here we are.
I looked at my loan payments and I cried. Because I was not taught financial literacy. And I didn't understand.
By the way, almost no one's taught financial literacy. And even if you are, it could be wrong. You need to sit down. The internet is this vast source of information, and just do a couple Google searches. You can find all the information so fast. It's how I found you.
Stand how a credit company for student loans could charge me $1,800 if I wasn't making that much. I thought, okay, there must be something similar to the...
How can they charge you? Like, you need to be able to pay down the loan in a reasonable amount of time while still addressing the interest. These are subsidized by the government, so you even get a better deal. And how will they know how much money you're making when they give you the loan originally? Because you're going to school. Like, they can't predict you're going to end up in a job, especially someone who didn't go to college to get a degree that would get them a job specifically, that they could estimate, you know, because she didn't even declare a major or have a focus or whatever she said. So, like, how would they know?
Federal aid where you can do it based on income. No, they don't offer that. So I would also look into that before you take out student loans, if they're going to offer income based or anything. They don't offer that. The best I could do was bring it down to $1,000. And then I was struggling to find a full-time job. I applied for like 3 months to over probably 500 jobs before I finally found one. This is the catch, that doesn't even require my degree. I found a job that paid $20 an hour, 40 hours a week, and it was degree recommended, not required. So I felt very...
So why did you get the degree? That's the entire point here, right? This is a return on it. You can't expect everybody to take care of you for 4 years, teach you for free, and then you get all that value and then not return value back to the people who did that. Like, that's like saying, yeah, the students shouldn't have to pay the teachers. Well, then who? The government? But then the government wouldn't even let you go to school for that because obviously, look, you're a bad investment, right? Like, the market forces are going to fix this one way or another. Either the government is going to be more strict with who they give out loans for. Please, Jesus, do this. This is literally what we need to fix this problem, because the students are not responsible. They're not. These kids are not responsible enough to figure out if they should be taking out student loans for college. Less people are going to go to college. They'll complain about it. They'll say how, like, you know, only the rich are doing it because, you know, student loans are now more strict than they've ever been. But we won't end up with this massive student loan bubble and all these kids taking out insane amounts of debt for educations that do not provide good jobs or productive jobs that can pay off even the loans, let alone improve this person's, you know, lifestyle, which is really why you want to go to college, to get a job that allows you to live a better life.
Very grateful for that opportunity. I just don't understand why companies and jobs want you to have stepping stones but don't consider your degree to be the stepping stones or the foundation for working for those companies, and they want to pay less money for more years of experience. It doesn't make sense.
Less money for more years of experience. No, they'll pay more money for more years of experience, but that's job experience, not college experience. Because let's be honest, a lot of people who go to college do not learn that much. They do the exact minimum to get their piece of paper that says they graduated, and jobs know this. You look at most college graduates nowadays, and a lot of them aren't very good. If you have a couple of years of work experience, you usually are going to be a lot better than someone who just graduated college. Now, some jobs require you to have that college degree, like medicine, but a lot of jobs don't. And in that case, you're better off just getting work experience. And if college is something you need, just go back to college.
Really hard to find a job right now, like really, really hard. Anyway, flash forward, I'm doing this and I'm able to make my bare minimum payments, but that doesn't matter because in 12 months, I'm still going to owe $1,800 bare minimum on the Sally Mae loans, and I cannot afford that. and I make $41,600 a year before taxes. Now, flash forward, I'm at this job for a couple months and I start to...
She only makes $41,000, and if she had to pay this with all the other debts she said she had, yeah, that's rough.
Really badly with my mental health. I'm talking like can't get out of bed except to go to work, really struggling, losing passion for everything, falling into a mix of, I would say, seasonal depression because it's winter and I struggle with that a lot, and also depression because my life is not going the way that I want it to go. And that is a hard thing to grasp.
I hate to say this, but how would your life go the way you wanted it to go when you didn't even plan ahead? It's the idea that things are just going to stumble, like good things are just going to happen to me. You have to plan ahead. And a lot of people, young people, are going to learn this lesson really hard. But I mean, it's a good lesson to learn. And you need to grow from that, not just give up. Kind of like what she's saying is, oh, I'm depressed, I can't do anything. And depression could be an issue, but that means you need to go to a doctor. Get it fixed. Because once again, if you just sit there, nothing's going to happen. Your life is going to be determined on everything around you. It's not going to be in your control if you don't plan for the future and fix the problems you have.
And also, debt is really hard. It's a hard thing, and like a lot of people struggle with it. So it's not just me coming on here. Like I'm very grateful and I am privileged, and there's a lot of things that are going well in my life, but like that debt is still looming over my head, and that is a real thing. I decided that this job was not worth staying at any longer because of how much it was impacting my mental health. I was crashing out all the time and I really tried to stick it out, but I was just really starting to see no purpose in my life, even though it was helping me make those bare minimum payments. I have since put in my 2 weeks and I'm going back to 2 part-time jobs that I've calculated out will make the same amount of money I make at this full-time job that I supposedly got with my degree. So I'm still going to make $41,000.
No, remember, the job didn't require her degree. It said recommended, not required. So what? We're flip-flopping a little bit.
$1,600 and be able to make my bare minimum payments. But I am really worried about what I'm going to do in 11 months when I have to owe $1,800 just on Sally Mae. I am putting this out there as like kind of a way to warn people about looking into what your loans look like. Teach yourself financial literacy, but I'm also putting this out there to ask what's the best case scenario. I don't really know what to do, and I've been trying to do research. I don't want to get sued by Sally Mae. It's hard to find a job. I don't really want people coming on here being like, well, just go find a higher paying job. You were silly to drop down to 2 part-time jobs. That is not the advice I'm looking for. I'm looking for a best way to knock out my loans and start paying them off faster with what I have. I'm making the bare minimum payments and a little bit more.
Okay, I'm going to stop it here because that's just a wild statement. I only make this much money a month, right? And then I need to pay this much money a month. And then you guys are saying I need to increase the money I make, but I don't want to listen to that. I'm not doing that. I need to find a way to pay more money without making more money, you guys. That's where I'm at right now. Like what? Some people, I mean, freedom is great. Freedom really is great because it allows you to, if you take care of your life, plan ahead, and do well, you can really succeed. But man, when you give some people freedom, a certain percentage of the population is not built for freedom. And they need the guardrails up and, the government to look after them. I think this is one of those people. I'm sorry. I don't know her that well, but it seems like one of those people because she should have never been able to take out this debt. She was never going to pay it off. She just does not have the mindset to deal with this type of situation, unfortunately, from what I'm seeing. So we're going to go somewhere else. This lady's making me depressed, dude.
I think it's so obvious that a lot of us have beef with student loans. I just can't get over that. I have $77,000 in student loans. Probably
Not
had
bad.
73, 74. For the course of the years, it's gotten up to $77,000. Tell me why I make a $380 payment. Next month, it accrues probably over $1,000. Make another $380 payment. It accrues over $1,000. I'm making payments for nothing. I'm throwing cash in the trash.
No, you're making payments because if you don't make payments, usually that interest will become part of the principal if you ever like default or stop paying for a certain period of time, which then means you're going to pay even more interest. And then also it's showing good faith. But yes, you need to pay more than that, or else this debt's never going to go away. It's like paying the minimum on your credit cards and paying them for 20 or 30 years. It's a terrible idea. It's pretty simple. That's why it's going up. You're not paying enough to cover the interest.
Oh, like, duh. I know a lot of people know this, and I knew this too, but it's just like when you put it into perspective and you're like, dude, this thing's not going down. I actually can't believe a lot of us are just going to be in debt or expected to be in debt for the rest of our lives. You know what? The people who have a lot of privilege will say it's our fault. You should be making money. You should be saving money. You should be doing this. You should be doing it. Oh my God. Like, this is why we are still in student loan debt.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say that everybody's saying you have to make more money. You have to make more money after you've already taken out the debt. Right. Once you've taken out that money, the only solution is to pay it off or declare bankruptcy if possible. But with student loans, a lot of times you can't do that. So yes, that is what people are saying. You have to make more money. But the people with privilege or the people from a better financial situation would say, don't take out debt if you don't have a way to pay it off, if you don't have a good, solid plan to pay it off. Because just like what you're realizing and a lot of people realize, debt can kill you. That's why businesses close down, okay? Businesses do not close down because they're cash flow positive. Businesses usually close because the debt load gets too high. It doesn't make sense. It's over. That's why that's why you lose your house, right? Because the mortgage payments, you can't make them anymore. Debt is good. Debt is a useful tool. But if you cannot pay it off, it will kill you. Slowly and steadily with little tiny interest payments.
Because you get people like that who genuinely love the government. I'm just like shocked. How the fuck are we ever supposed to move on? Oh, we're not. I forgot. We're actually just supposed to stay little for the rest of our lives.
No. You just can't ignore the debt. You can't take money and then be like, I have to pay it off. Never mind. I'm just not. I can't move on from this. I mean, if I can't pay it back, I should be able to move on from it. No. If you loan somebody $100 and they don't pay you back, like they can't just move on with their life. That's crazy, dog. That's crazy.
That's what they want. Oh, I fucking hate this country.
She hates this country? Wow, that's strong. Okay. The United States is awesome. And you don't hate the country because you made a bad choice. I guess you know what? She can hate the country. I take it back. That does make sense because this country gave her the freedom to make a dumb decision. And she realizes she made a dumb decision. And she's like, I shouldn't be able to make dumb decisions. Which means she probably wants more government control, for sure. I mean, a lot of these people do. Like I said, some people just you cannot give a certain percentage of the population a lot of freedom. They will just self-destruct. They'll do harmful things. Like, sure, there should be consumer protections within limits, but man, some people do need the guardrails up, dude, at the bowling alley, okay? Because they're gonna throw gutter balls, and then they get salty when they throw gutter balls, especially when they have to throw gutter balls for 20 years or the rest of their life. Holy. All right, let's go to the next one.
How I got myself $23,000 into credit card debt. I started dating a guy when I was around 12 or 13, and I dated him throughout middle school, high school, and into my early 20s. I'm not going to get into the super juicy details of this relationship.
This isn't a student debt one, but whatever.
But just know that it was mentally, physically, emotionally abusive. And I am so, so grateful to be out of it.
Has any woman been in a relationship that's not emotionally abusive? I have never. This might just be me from a guy's perspective, but like every girl ever is like, my ex emotionally abused me. He was terrible. They're all narcissists, every single one of them. And then the guy version of this is every girl's crazy. She's way too emotional and she won't let me like do anything. Every girl, too emotional, crazy. Every guy's narcissistic and emotionally abusive. It's just, it is what it is. No one can like leave their ex and be like, it just didn't work out. We're two flawed people and we just couldn't mesh that well. It's okay, and move on. Everything is, they were so evil.
Out of that relationship now. But I did make some bad financial decisions whenever I broke that relationship off 3 years ago. When I was in that relationship, I was controlled a lot, and I wasn't able to hang out with my friends. I wasn't able to travel. I wasn't really able to do anything, and that kind of led into my spending problem whenever I left that relationship. So I broke it off. I started doing solo trips out the wazoo. I was doing solo trip after solo trip, and guess what? I didn't have any money. I was working as a teller in a bank. I still work in a bank, but I've since moved up positions. But I was working as a teller, so I wasn't making much. And so in turn, I was putting it all on my credit cards because I wanted to have these experiences that I felt like I had lost out on. Does that make sense? I pretty much did this.
What is with this FOMO? FOMO is driving so many people into debt, which is going to cause them to miss out on the rest of their life. Like, these people are FOMOing over experiences. And this is becoming a bigger thing with the younger generations, is when they're polled, is like a lot of younger people want to do experiences over like things to buy. But the problem is, like, those experiences are fleeting. Like, once you spend $2,000, $3,000 for a vacation, it's gone. And you're like, yeah, but I have the memory of it. That memory fades as well as the good feelings of it. Like, I bought these 3 monitors, these beautiful, you can't see them, but I have 3 beautiful monitors, okay? And that cost me like $1,500. I think it was $500 a monitor. These things bring me so much joy every single day. Every single day, these things bring me joy. If I took a $3,000 vacation, I would just forget about it. I went to Bermuda when I was a kid. Didn't need to go there. No, the people are different. It's cool. But traveling, you're just doing the same stuff in different places. I'm not a big traveler. I don't get it. But I do understand that putting myself into debt for a little experience seems insane to me.
The same thing over and over and over and over again. I went on so many trips. I fell in love with national parks and hiking.
National parks are like free though. Just take a road trip. That's like a cheap one.
And eventually I found myself $23,000 into credit card debt. And now I'm on a mission to pay that off as quickly as I possibly can. I know what it feels like to feel like you're drowning in your credit card debt, your minimum payments, and a lot of the times if you have high credit card debt like I do, the interest rates are just eating up any monthly payments that you make. It sucks that I put myself in that situation, and if you're in that situation, all you can do is get yourself out. And if you only have one stream of income, like your full-time job, I highly recommend getting a second stream of income, which is what I did. The digital marketing is what I did for my second stream of income.
Oh Lord, she's just pimping TikTok. There's a lot of these TikToks in the finance where they're like, hey, get out of debt by just telling people about your debt. People are uploading their terrible financial situations to essentially get views. I'm part of the problem, right? Because I love this slop content. And, they're like, you can pay off your debt by telling other people about your terrible debt. I really do hope it keeps going because, man, I live for this stuff. I don't know why, but when watching people in debt makes me happy, even though it is kind of terrible. Let's see what Dave Ramsey has to say about all these student loans.
You know, of the number of people that start college, how many graduate? 52%. That's an investment in my future. Said the other 48% that are sitting at home with no freaking degree, but by God, they got the student loan debt. And
not counting the people who got worthless degrees. So it's probably under 50% that it actually works out for.
You know how you get rid of Sally Mae? You either pay her off in full or you die. That's the only way that woman goes away. It's not bankruptable. It is not an investment in yourself to borrow, even if it is an investment. We don't borrow money for investments.
Yes, we do. Leverage is very useful. Very, very useful. All the real estate guys, that's what they're doing, even though it's a little risky, but if you know the real estate game, it's good. And you do borrow money. You have to borrow money. Like, I had to borrow money for school. I borrowed $420 to $450,000 to go to school to become a dentist. And it worked. I've made tons of money. I have a net worth that's, low seven figures, and life is good. But you have to be responsible with it. You have to come up with a plan. And just like he's saying, over half the people apparently do not have a plan.
We don't borrow money for investments. I don't teach people to borrow money. The borrower is slave to the lender. That's what this math says. When you give up your income, when you give your income away, you have nothing. All the money comes in. All the money goes out. But by God, we're sitting around counting our Discover points. Oh, we got airline miles. Oh, Sally Mae's been with us for 15 freaking years in our spare bedroom. All because we called it an investment. I don't understand why it's bad. It's bad because it's stupid and you're normal. 70% of the Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's stupid.
It's true. It is stupid. But so is watching these videos, boys. Like and subscribe. I need to get to 1,000 subscribers, so I can feel good about myself. But hey, guys, thanks for checking by. I'm trying a new editing software, and we're gonna see if it does well. But peace out.